And here's our field in the Quaker State 250. In fifth position, a four-time 1994 winner, Bryan Goebel of Merriman, Kansas. And number 4 is a 1989 and 90 Player of the Year, Venezuela's Amleto Monacelli. The number 3 finalist is the big man from Topeka, still looking for his first PBA title, Coffman. Second seed is a two-time champion from Middleburg Heights, Ohio, Dave DeAntremont. Our tournament leader, also in search of his first title, from Greenville, South Carolina, Big Bob Spaulding. That's our outstanding field of finalists for this afternoon's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast of the Quaker State 250 live from Grand Prairie, Texas. Standing room only here at the beautiful forum where bowling reigns supreme. $250,000 total, and I'm Chris Shackle along with Nelson Burton Jr. and Bo. Look at that first prize money.
It's cranked to the bank this week, Chris. A great prize fund and a lot of power players out there, and we're ready to go with two of the best in the first opening match.
From Kansas, Bryan Goebel, and from Venezuela, two-time PBA Player of the Year, Amleto Monacelli. He'll shoot first. A 15-time titleist. Perfect shot. Now, Bryan Goebel. He was 23rd here in 1989. 4th last week at the Showboat.
Well, that's kind of an ugly group to open up with there. The Big Five. As you see the style of Bryan Goebel, very deliberate, 6-step delivery. Takes his time, a solid push away, swings the ball at the top of the swing. The key for Bryan is to make sure that his hips stay level throughout the shot. Hold up on his first one and ends up with an open frame.
This is the 19th Quaker State. 21st year, Bo, that we've come here to the Forum, Jeannie Halsey's beautiful lanes, to do a telecast.
So he grips that ball way underneath the ball, full cup, tucks that thumb down to about 1 o'clock.
Ten pin on the left lane.
As much as Goebel hooks the ball, he throws the least amount of hook among the 5 players today. Monacelli, probably the second least, and on up the line, all power players in the rest of the matches.
Steve Hoskins, a professional bowler who won here the last 2 years, had been in 5th position last night but slid to 15th. He was trying for that three-peat for which the Cowboys had tried too.
Didn't work for either one of them.
No.
See the style of Monacelli that's made him one of the most versatile players we have on tour the last 10 years. A very high backswing, freezes here, but watch how his hips stay so parallel to the target line and they don't have a lot of vertical movement. An ideal strike, he opens with 2 in a row. The key, and I'll reiterate it for good players, is to keep the hips from bouncing up and down vertically. If you turn horizontally, it's all right. Vertical is terrible.
A little high, not tripping the 4.
Monacelli with a little too much hook on the left-hand lane, and it hooks more of the 2. 2-pin goes around the 4-pin. Easy spare. Monacelli with a conversion will lead by 21.
This is our very first match of the Quaker State 250, Grand Prairie, Texas. The winner of this game will meet 240-pound Kelly Coffman.
Now Coffman, he'll cock his wrist underneath the ball. Notice the position of his thumb around 1 o'clock. That sets up his approach and his inside-out swing. Over adjustment for that shot in the first frame where he got the 5-pin split, moved farther left with his feet, leaves the 2, 7, 8. Needs to get the ball to the right of the 2-pin, drive the 2 into the 7 and 8. If he converts that, he'll trail by 24.
Beautifully done. In the testing 24 games of match play, Bryan was 13, 10, and 1.
Show the position on the lane here. Now watch Goebel. He'll set his thumb. See up here, he's setting his thumb. He's going to have a target in here. He has to drift left and swing back right because he cocked his thumb for the big hook ball.
Okay, yesterday, PBA bowlers Robert Lawrence, John Petraglia, and Bob Benoit used the McKinney Avenue trolley to a lunch spot in downtown Dallas. Our telecast is live from the all-American city of Grand Prairie, near Dallas. Forum Bowl, Amleto Monacelli has a 24-pin lead. Spare up shooting in the 4th frame. This is our first game. Third strike in 4 frames for the Venezuelan.
Now Monacelli, he'll take a little different position on the lane than Bryan Goebel because he throws a bigger hook. Now he presets his approach by the position of his hand. In other words, you want to cock your hand farther underneath the ball, the more you want to hook it. Now watch Monacelli. He'll set his hand, then twist that thumb all the way over to the 3 o'clock position, then he'll walk in a serpentine method this way, and then up over the second arrow. Inside out swing.
One of the most sustained follow-throughs in all of bowling. Fun to watch his form, Nelson.
He's disciplined, Chris, and that's something he's put into his game as well as this man, who I think is the most improved player we've had out here in the last 3 years, Bryan Goebel.
Bryan is a 33-year-old college man. Next Saturday at 3 Eastern Pacific on ABC Sports, the Pro Bowlers Tour sails into sunny Florida. PBA Player of the Year Norm Duke will try to defend his title in the Choice Hotels Classic. That's next Saturday here on ABC Sports.
Goebel can cut the lead of Monacelli's to 14 with a strike.
Another 10-pin on the left lane for Goebel.
Kind of the story of the Quaker State tournament this week. If you have enough power, you can flip out the corner pins. That's why we have 5 power players in the championship round. However, Goebel didn't quite catch it all on that shot, has left the 10. He'll trail by 25.
Monacelli shooting next with double working for him, a 6 frame. Jeannie Halsey there, proprietor. The Forum Lanes. Grand hostess, too, by the way. Jeannie and her sister Claudette behind her.
Monacelli, the top 15 players on the tour for 10 consecutive years. He's proven his versatility, and he gets better and better. I remember when he won the Las Vegas tournament with almost a perfectly straight ball about 6 years ago. Now he's playing the big hook and taking advantage of the lane condition and has a 35-pin lead through 6 frames.
Won twice last year, including Sayville, Long Island. Ooh. Well, Nelson, what do we do here?
Well, the 4-7-9, Chris, if you remember, Mike Edwards left a 4-9 split to lose the tournament to Mike Durbin a few years back at the Quaker State. A little too much hook for Monacelli. The ball cuts right through, not respecting these 3-pound, 8-ounce pins. The 2 misses the 4, goes around the 7. The ball chops the 5 off the 9. He can make it, but it's tough.
So Goebel with an open frame in the very first. It's an open frame for Monacelli now in the 7th. Still with a 20-pin lead. We're going to take a break and then return to Grand Prairie, Texas. Our PBA trio visited Dealey Plaza, which overlooks the infamous grassy knoll, and a school book depository from which the fatal shots which killed President John Kennedy were fired. Chris, today on the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast, we're featuring the Quaker State 250. And at one of the great bowling establishments anywhere, it is the Forum. And play resumes now in our very first match with Amleto Monacelli of Amleto, Venezuela, leading by 20. This man is trailing Bryan Goebel of Merriam, Kansas. 7th frame spare up. Distraction on the lane, so wisely stepping off, using the full approach. Six steps to the line, and a beautiful shot for Goebel. Here's Nelson.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Kelly Coffman, you throw the big hook ball, but you're telling me that you might go a little straighter out there. Why?
Yeah, well, when you tend to go a little straighter, sometimes you stay out of more trouble. The lanes are breaking down a little bit early for me. The ball I normally hook ball with has a little surface on it. It might be grabbing a little too much, so I might go with something a little shinier, maybe go a little straighter. It just depends when I get over and get a feel in the lanes.
All right, smart move. We'll see what happens, Chris. Back to you.
All right, and that double now by Bryan Goebel has cut Monacelli's lead to 10 pins. Monacelli bowling now following an open frame in the 7th. He'll be shooting in the 8th. Carefully setting that grip. Concentration. Powerful ball, very high hit, but no problem to strike in the 8th for Amleto.
Well, he gets a real good break there. That's the break he was looking for in the 7th frame when he left the 4-7-9. Now here you'll see the 2 pin, which will be the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of the screen, do the damage on the 4 and 7. So the sideboard kicks out the 4, the 5, and takes out the 9 now. Monacelli can extend his lead to 20, 9th frame, first match.
Okay, back to that 20-pin lead, but man with a double working, Bryan Goebel is up and shooting the foundation 9th of this first game. The winner advances, as you know our format. And Bo just talked to the person the winner will meet. Just didn't come up. 2-pin, and there is Bryan's wife, Kelly.
See Bryan losing that ball off his hands. He doesn't stick his fingers very far down in the finger holes. He has a kind of relaxed grip. He felt it's improved his game, but he lost that one on a downswing. He's in trouble, trails by 21.
Bachelor's degree in English, Bryan Goebel. You know, tonight, a network premiere on the ABC family movie. Polly Shore and Brenda Fraser star in Encino Man, then the series premiere of The Marshal. All new shows tonight, starting at 8, 7 Central Time, right here on ABC.
All right, as Bryan Goebel stands up there in the 10th frame, he needs 2 strikes to force Monacelli to mark. Must have this shot to stay in the match.
Pressure. Well, you guys are so good, Nelson. You accept that pressure so often.
Well, Chris, I think that was a little case of unconscious competence there. He gets the ball left of his target at 3 or 4 boards, and I think he just had his concentration broken a little bit. Gets a break, with 3 pin, goes to sideboard, trips out to 6. But if he can strike here, he can still win the match.
Third 10 pin on the left lane with a Kansan, who has a bachelor's degree in English from the university.
Well, he's going to end up finishing 5th here unless Monacelli has disaster. Monacelli's only going to need 7 pins on the first ball, and that's pretty easy to stay behind the foul line. And from this $250,000 purse, it means an $8,500 check. Or Bryan Goebel shot a 204. Where do you go when you need 7? There is no protective shot in bowling. Go right to the hole, the 1-3. Throw a good shot.
All right, and I just gave Bryan 2 extra pins. 202, Bryan Goebel. Monacelli still knocking him down. Looking good.
Boy, he does, Chris. You know, just year after year, he's become so disciplined out on the lane, so well balanced. And you can see the training. He just has that pro glow, that look of a winner in his face, the great concentration.
In the 240s, getting ready for big Kelly Coffman. Powerful. Fun to watch. Butch Soper, our scorekeeper, finished 17th. Nice check for our friend. .244.202. This ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
ABC Sports coverage of the Professional Bowlers Tour. Brought to you by Quaker State 4x4 Motor Oil, the intelligent oil for hard-working engines. Split Fire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more until you use it. And the Warhawk from Champions. You can't stop it from scoring.
Popular Venezuelan Amleto Monacelli, a master in the first game with 10 strikes, eliminating Bryan Goebel. 202, Monacelli 244. And Monacelli 7 for 7 on the right lane, 3 of 5 on the left, so that left lane should continue to be something as we go along. And Byron, or Bo is rather, with Bryan Goebel, one of our favorite pros.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel, the number 3 ranked player in the world, and you just never could get in sync out there today.
No, I threw a bad shot. The first shot out of the box was a little bit slow. I had a few distractions. Just never got my concentration really going today. I don't know what it was. But you needed some power out there on the lanes. You need to be able to throw it right and bring it back with some authority, and that's something I just couldn't do that well today.
Well, you're one of the most improved and one of the best, and you'll be back many times again. Byron, good luck. Chris, back to you.
Right. Bryan last week was 4th in Las Vegas, 5th today, a check of 8,500. And here we go, the big man, Kelly Coffman of Topeka, Kansas now. The power man can watch the 5'8", 150-pound Amleto Monacelli. His victory, 244 to Goebel's 202. First shot, left lane. All right, 11th strike this afternoon, and now a fellow looks more like a cowboy linebacker.
The man with the boss ball. There's a lot of power on the tour, but none of them can rev it up like this guy. When he gets it going, look out.
Like that. Just a beautiful shot. He's 29 years old. Been a pro on the tour 10 years, looking for that first title.
6'2", 260 pounds, all wrist action. Watch this wrist unload as he drives through the pivot area, keeps those hips level. Boom. And one thing I see, Chris, is extending towards the target a little more today, and that's what he really needs. Oh.
Pesky.
They say on the tour, when you leave one of those, too much toy, and that's what he has. He cuts that toy loose, sends it from about the 20th board out to the 8th board. That ball, 16-pound spheroid, has no respect for 3-pound, 8-ounce pins, leaves a solid 9.
Now, in this field of 188 here in the Quaker State 250, he was number 1 through 41 games. So he's had a tremendous week. Strike up, second frame, deliberate. He loves that right lane, Nelson.
Yes, he does, Chris, and he'll make some adjustments. We're bowling on wood lanes today, and they're going to change a little more than we see on, say, synthetic lanes during an hour and a half. Monacelli with the good snap, the good release, and extension. What I mean is reach down the lane, has the 2-pin trip out the 4, and out goes the 9. He starts with a double, and he's going to need all he can get against Coffman.
Three-bagger. We're in our second game. Monacelli winning the first 244 to Bryan Goebel's 202. to the left of center. Right lane.
Well, the power pays dividends on that shot as he gets the wall shot, but Kelly cannot afford to throw many shots like that where he cut it short. Now you want to see the power of Kelly Coffman. Remember, your hand is preset to just your approach. So he's going to walk here and send it between the third and fourth arrows with an inside-out swing.
And he conquers the left lane. Giving him a double, trailing by 10. We'll be back. Okay, we're back at the Forum, Grand Prairie, Texas. Final 5 have started, and this is the man, Amleto Monacelli, who finished 4th, that eliminated the number 5 bowler, Bryan Goebel, 244 to 202. 3 in a row, 4th frame. Groove today, Nelson Burton.
Well, Chris Schenkel, it's a great shot for Amleto, and he started with 4 in a row, and he looks awfully sharp on the TV pair.
And of course, he can make 12. Perfect game. Quaker State will present him with a check for $100,000. 5th frame, 5th frame. Crossing over and fortunately leaving the 3-10.
Chris, an interesting thing happened right there. As you'll see on the approach, there's a little oil mark as the lane machine comes rolling off and carries a little oil to the left side of the approach. Amleto is so far left on the lane that he actually stuck in that area. You see it over by the left-hand channel. That affected his shot. He pulled it, went high, has the 310.
Hopefully released the oil from the shoe. Oh, yes. 2-time PBA Player of the Year, Bo.
Thank you, Chris. And the Big D, you should be the man to beat on this TV pair. The 255 average, can you hit them like that today?
Well, the 2 times I hit it in the finals, I think I hit it in the night block where the shot had had all day to develop. With the fresh oil and not as many games being bowled on. Didn't really like what I had in practice, but there's been a couple games bowled on, so we'll see what happens.
Well, he averaged 255, Chris, and he's in the semifinal match. We'll see what happens. Back to you.
Okay, and Kelly Coffman has strung 3, and he's cut Monacelli's lead to 8. On this shot on the left lane, he could lead by 2. So now, Kelly has the opportunity to try to convert the split. Kelly, who was 9th here in 92, his opponent, Amleto, won in 91 right here at the Forum.
310, get the ball between the 3-pin, let it deflect into the 10. Monacelli did it perfectly in the 5th. Let's see if Kelly can do it in the 6th.
Oh, yes. We're getting early tips here today, Bill Burton.
Well, it's so important for the power players to fill in the frames. We know they're going to get strikes, but if there's any doubt in their game is the ability to mark in between. Now, Monacelli being a little more versatile and a little more experienced than the other players should fill more frames, but Kelly makes the tough split.
And as Bo was speaking about experience, Amleto is in his 67th bowling telecast. He and his wife Teresa just completed their home in Venezuela. He said he slept 2 nights in the new home and came back to bowl.
Make a nice house payment today with 48 grand on top. I think the best concentration on tour right here in this man.
Leaving a 10-pin. When he won here in 1991, he started from 4th. Exactly what he's doing today.
Little ball change for the 10 pin, something that doesn't hook quite as much. Cross lane, dead in the shot. Watch you don't stick in that corner. Whoop.
Okay. Getting near the end of our second game. It's a close one. Only 10 pins separate these pros. Our tournament leader, another big man, Bob Spaulding, now bowling out of Greenville, South Carolina. Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania native. Better weather in South Carolina.
Coffman up, 7th frame, trails by 10.
All right.
Mother and father looking on, proud of that. Virgil.
Aren't they, though?
And Louise. If there's one thing Kelly Coffman has to do to prove his game, is to extend farther down the line. What I'm saying is don't cut the ball off short. He's had a few short ones in this match, and now he can even the match with a strike. Needs a big, long follow-through.
All right, broke up the split, leaving only the 2.
Watch the head pin. It'll do the damage and save him right here. Goes to the left sideboard, takes out corner pins, and then knocks the 10 out. Easy spare. He'll trail by 10.
Take a deep breath now while he relaxes, and here's Monacelli. Monacelli with spare up shooting in the 8th frame. If you just joined us, he won the first game over Bryan Goebel, 244 to 202. 10 strikes. What a scout. Coming up next at 4:30 Eastern on ABC's Wide World of Sports, we'll bring you the pairs competition from the Fresh Look World Challenge of Champions. Also, it's a 2-minute drill featuring Super Bowl Most Valuable Player Steve Young from the Miller Lite Pro Bowl Battle of the Gridiron, and we'll have a preview of next Saturday's State Farm United States Figure Skating Championships. All next on Wide World of Sports. A 4.
Boy, Amleto came away from the 8th and 9th frame smelling like a rose. I'll tell you what, he sent the ball wide in the 8th and tripped the 2-pin with the head pin. Then he throws the ball right in the beak on the left-hand lane and just gets an easy spare. With a conversion, the match will be up for grabs. Monacelli will have a 10-pin superiority.
All right. Kelly,
excuse me, Chris. We haven't had a tie match all year, but the table's set for that. If Coffman strikes out, 238. Monacelli strikes out, 238. Down to the last frame.
Confident shot. He and his wife, Chelsea, are expecting a baby boy on Tuesday.
For Coffman to be a consistent winner on the Pro Bowlers Tour, this is where he has to learn to perform. In the clutch, he's got the power. He can get himself in position to get to the 10th frame. Now he has to put his Sunday ball down there and prove that he can win in the final frames.
Oh, the 10 still stands.
Wow, how'd that head pin miss that 10 pin? The scout left sideboard and goes sailing across. Watch this. This would have tied up the match. Head pin to the left sideboard. Zoom! Right in front of the 10. It's not over, but it's a little more dark for Kelly right now.
Bitter disappointment going from first to third yesterday. And, of course, frustrated now.
Well, and if Monacelli marks, Chris, it'll be 4th. That's quite a drop in 2 games. A lot of bucks at stake.
Darn right. 10,000 instead of a possible 48 grand. That's what he needed. Previous shot. 218 for Kelly Coffman.
Monacelli needs a spare of any type, and it's not a given. He's been all over the place on this right-hand lane. He's been light, high. Right now, He needs a mark. When you need a mark, you got to go with your best shot. Go to the hole, the 1-3.
Well, oh, here it is.
Here's what has to happen. He has to make this split and get a good count, 4 pins, to win the match. And I'll tell you what, I don't think he's going to make it, Chris. It's a tough shot. That left side of the lane's tricky. If he leaves it to the right, he hangs it out over the 2. If he leaves it to the left, it hooks by. Kelly Coffman wins the match.
Your prediction on the button. Speaking of disappointments, disappointment to joy for Kelly Coffman, who wipes his brow, and he should. 218 to Monacelli's 214. Let's watch again how he missed.
Here's the shot at the 2-8-10. Now, 2-4-10. Remember, he just needs a mark of any type. Now, he's worrying about going high. Well, hangs. The head pin doesn't take out the 2. Now he's left with the difficult split. Kelly Coffman wins the match.
All right, this week the Choice Hotels Tip of the Week features Billy Hardwick with some shoe info.
ABC Sports presents a winning never gets old bowling tip. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
Our guest today is bowling's first Triple Crown winner, Billy Hardwick. Billy won the U.S. Open, the PBA National, and the Tournament of Champions. And here's his famous style some 30 years ago. Bill, footwork was so important to you in your career. Tell us about it.
Well, it was more critical than the equipment because I've had arthritis all my life and had to be real careful that I didn't hurt myself in the approach. So what I did was I had a sole specially made for my sliding shoe. This is a Teflon sole which ensured that I would never stick. To make sure I didn't overslide, I took my plant shoe and I put a rubber sole on the bottom so I could plant before I'd go into that long slide. Now the long slide not only extended my approach 2 feet, but extended my career about 10 years.
All right, Bill, but these shoes look like the ones you won the 1969 U.S. Open with. It's time to buy a new pair, pal.
Well, both those are the ones, but I did polish them just for you.
They look okay then. Well, for today's senior player, you can extend your career and enjoy the game much more with custom-made shoes. For the right shoe or the traction foot, they have soles that will not slip. Keeps you very stable on the way to the line. And for the slide sole, there are a lot of things you can do. This particular sole has a buckskin sole on the front part of it and gives you a nice smooth slide. So take a tip from one of the great players of all time. Pay as much attention to your bowling shoes as you do to the rest of the equipment, and you'll enjoy the game more. And remember, winning never gets old.
In the Quaker State 250, we're moving along. 2 games, 2 different winners. 244 for Monacelli, 10 strikes in the first against Bryan Goebel's 202. Kelly Coffman in a thriller against Monacelli, 7 strikes, 218, 214, and now it'll be Dave D'Entremont as we get a good look here. Sports Marketing Director of Quaker State, our friend Ron Anderson. Smile, Ron.
They do a nice job, don't they, Chris? And let's take a look at the 6 through 24 this week. The field is a 188-man field in the 60-lane bowling center. Kind of solid scores all week long as you look through the other finishers. Deadeye. Marshall Holman really looks sharp this year. Billy Myers, a rookie out here, lefty, impressed me when I watched him this week, Chris. Steve Hoskins going for a 3-peat, finished 15th. Super Soper. Gary Dickinson, the old veteran, wily veteran, stealing some money. Randy Peterson up there. Mr. Machine, Dave Arnold. Tony Rosamilla, remember he forgot to check in his ball last year and lost his check. He didn't forget that this year, Chris, and exciting action. We have some upcoming tournaments.
We do. $275,000 Choice Hotels Classic at Don Carter's All-Star Lanes in Sunrise, Florida. Interesting format. The IOF PBA Player of the Year, Norm Duke, defends this tournament title, and reigning PBA Senior Player of the Year, Gary Dickinson, won last year's Winning Never Gets Old Challenge worth $25,000. 5 seniors, 5 regular tour players. Then, 2 weeks from today, to Peoria at the Landmark Recreation Center. Bryan Goebel is the defending champion. Both telecasts, 3 Eastern, 2 Central. So, join us again. Semi-final match right now.
You won't get 2 better strike balls than these 2 you're going to be featured in this semifinal match. The Big D and Kelly Coffman.
There's one. Now Kelly, who eked out win over Monacelli 218 to 214 on the right lane.
See if he takes advantage of that reprieve Monacelli gave him. Think about Coffman in his first match game victory, something we haven't seen much from him, is he filled every frame, no open frames, and that's a key for a power player.
Strike and a spare through the first frame of the semifinal. The winner, of course, will meet Bob Spaulding.
Coffman gets a good break. He's sending that ball wide out over the first arrow. He pulls it left of the second arrow, crosses over the Brooks side, and gets rewarded. 10 in the pit. I think the most underrated player on the tour, the Big D, stands off the end of the approach, and you just look at his profile. When he can get loose, Chris, I think he could be a dominant type player on the tour here. Now notice how his hip movement is straight to the target, not much vertical movement at all. That's the key. Look at how low he is, and boy, can he put the wrist to it as he's opened with 2 strikes in a row.
It's food for thought.
High risk, high reward type game, and obviously there's a risk to throwing the big hook ball, and he could pay a penalty here. He needs to get the ball to the 1-2 side, drive the head pin over into the 610, a tough shot, and he needs this to stay ahead in the match.
All but the 10. Here's the man that drives the entire PBA Tour. 4,500 miles already this year.
Watch the head pin knock the 6 pin around the 10. That's a bad break. I mean, you shoot it that way 9 out of 10 times, you'll make it. Bad break for the Big D.
So that double puts Kelly Coffman out to a 17-pin lead, and he can add to that.
Well, Kelly can be dominant if he can start hitting this left-hand lane. He was 5 for 5 on the right-hand lane, lane 40 here when he won the match over Monacelli, and he's 1 out of 2 so far in this match. So if the big guy who just curls that wrist under, hand underneath the ball can hit this lane, look out.
Now it's Kelly's turn on the left lane.
I once heard a young kid call this Pinocchio bowling. They just keep firing the ball in the nose and see what stands up, and they're getting a bunch of them. 5-pin counts. These big hook balls can leave anything. Needs to get the ball to the right of the 3, drive it over in the 4-7 zone.
All right, things get closer with these misses. We're in the semifinal match. Texas prides itself in producing horsemen. Check out these dudes. The Forum with its chandeliers. Great equipment. Very hospitable spot. 21st year that we've come here. This is the 19th Quaker State 250. And nearly weighing in at 250 is Dave DeEntremont, leading by 2. That'll help. Here's Nelson.
Thank you, Chris. Our tournament leader, Bob Spaulding. And Bob, it's obvious that the man who can hit the left-hand lane can win this tournament. You have a game plan for it?
Yeah, I think I threw a couple practice balls on it, and I think I'm going to try to move inside just a little bit deeper and straighten things out just a little bit than everybody else is.
That sounds like a good game plan, Bob, because doing that, obviously, you won't have to send it wide and avoid the big splits.
All right, you just got there's a heavy concentration of oil, and then there's some dry to the right, and it's the left lane is just really touchy to that.
All right, good luck in the match. We'll see. Back to you, Chris.
And thank you. The Entremont has gone out to a 12-pin lead with the double. And now up in the 5th frame, Kelly Coffman. And he can cut it back to 2 pins on the left lane, which has been a problem. Let's watch him.
Kelly grabbing another ball, the first player to make a change with ball equipment. He's taking one that doesn't hook as much. Let's see what happens.
I think the reddest bowling ball I've ever seen.
That's from surface friction.
Ah, yeah.
The guy that sets up his wrist as well as anybody, check the grip of the big D. Sets that in absolutely perfect position and tries to maintain it all the way through his swing.
Well, 1, 2, 4, 6, 10.
I've always heard what Bob Spaulding, our tournament leader, had to say about the oil in the center of the lane, and D'Entermont just takes too much of it. Ball continues to slide by. We've seen this split twice before, the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10.
So for Dave D'Entremont, an open frame 102 through the 6th. And now trailing by...
D'Entermont cocks that wrist underneath the ball, and that determines where he's going to stand on the approach and the direction he's going to walk. When you cock your wrist under the ball, you have to walk to the left to accommodate your swing and slide that ball between the 3rd and 4th arrows in this particular shot. Watch this.
Tough 4-pin, trying to come back after that open frame and trailing now. 19. Dave D'Entremont going against Kelly Coffman in our semifinal game, the winner to meet Bob Spaulding. Cattle drives are usually set on open range, as we all know. But you know, this depiction can be found in, downtown Dallas at Pioneer Plaza. Yes, it's happy birthday to our colleague Byron Nelson. 83 today. This is the 50th anniversary of the greatest feat in golf. 18 victories in 1945, 11 in a row. And I know our pal, mutual friend Phil Harris, and his movie star wife Alice Fair watching this with interest, because Phil and Byron played to Crosby often. Phil made a gigantic putt. When his caddy was asked how long it was, Byron said it was the greatest putt, but how long it was, the caddy said, "I'd like to have that much frontage on Wilshire Boulevard." So you know it had to be big. Oh, our scouts aren't doing anything today, Bill.
Well, Chris, they get them during the tournament. These power players, when they get loose, they can sling that ball around. But Kelly Coffman kind of short-armed that shot. You get him the full extension, the full follow-through, and loosen up, he'll drive that head pin into the 10.
Kelly getting into the semifinal match from 3rd position by defeating Amleto Monacelli 218 to 214. Monacelli defeating Bryan Goebel in the first match 244 to 202. Woo. Way out of hand.
Well,
he's out of bounds.
That was OB. He's trying to throw the ball over the second arrow, or the first arrow, and he hits the second arrow. So when you miss 4 or 5 boards left, you're going to get a result like that, and this is no easy spare.
Oh. Open in the 8th. now leading by only 3.
Well, Cranker players are very entertaining to watch with their power and some of their miscues, and so far Dave D'Entremont and Kelly Coffman have kept us entertained both ways as the match has come down to just a 3-pin differential. D'Entremont trailing by 3, 8th frame.
It didn't come up.
Well, Dave playing that lubricious center of the lanes where the ball just slides and slides and slides, and they're afraid of that high friction area to the outside, so they slip by the head pin a number of times. When they make the move to the right, they go high. This is where a player has to become more versatile, and these power players, to be great stars, need to do this. And what they must do, Chris, is basically throw the ball straighter.
So now 17 pins separate these two. You know, next Saturday at 3 Eastern and Pacific on ABC Sports, the Pro Bowlers Tour sails into sunny Florida. PBA Player of the Year Norm Duke will try to defend his title in the Choice Hotels Classic. That's next Saturday here on ABC Sports. Unique format. Join us.
All right, Big D, you either just got to lean on it or throw it a little straighter. Let's see what happens. Chris, if we recall players like Mike Durbin, Mike Edwards playing well on this championship pair, it's because they have the ability to throw the ball straighter. And this guy, D'Entremont, can do it, and he could be a great star if he would learn to trust that straight shot under pressure. Right now, he's trying to finesse the hook. It's not working.
Oh, you preferred the straight.
I had no choice.
Get out. The athlete that you are.
Well, in order for me to hook it, I had to throw it slow enough. These guys got the wrist power of the modern player, and this match is up for grab. Coffman has a 17-pin lead.
That came in the foundation ninth for Kelly.
A mark here in the 10th as he looks to the side, the official scoreboard, is lockjaws. He locks up the match with a strike or a spare.
Should that happen, we'd have 2 non-PBA titleists in the final game.
Three, 6, 9, 10. No gimme, especially when you need it. If he makes it, he locks up the match. Need to get the ball over here in the 3-6 zone, carry the ball into the 9, have the 6 take out the 10.
Well, he avoided that 8th frame shot anyway, Bo. All right. Virgil has popped.
And Louise to his right. They know their son needs 4 pins. This one will be down the middle. There'll be no hook on this. Kelly Coffman, you know the score. Rock it down the center of the lane. Don't even take a chance of throwing it out in the gutter.
Wisconsin battling a native of Ohio, just as Byron Nelson and his wife Peggy, a native from the Buckeye State. So Kelly Coffman goes in against Bob Spaulding. This ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. I'm sure you'll agree it's been an interesting afternoon here at the Forum Lanes. Look at the scores. Look at the winners. Kelly Coffman now will go into the final game against another non-PBA titleist, Bob Spaulding. Battle of the big guys. 48,000 to the winner, 23,000 difference in finishing first or second, though.
You're right, Chris, plus the trip to the Brunswick Tournament of Champions. And a couple of things to look for. The average winning score here at 18 years has been 229, losing score 205 in the championship match. But I think the key is the left-hand lane. The player that can adjust in the left-hand lane is going to be very tough.
There happened to be one group of folks who are always winners from the Forum. We're talking about the Texas Scottish Rite Hospital for Children. Here's Wayne Davenport. He's a 14-year-old native of Garland, Texas. Reading disability. He's going through the hospital's dyslexia program, and the Texas Scottish Rite Hospital takes care of so many wonderful, beautiful children with all kinds of problems, and the parents never have to pay a penny. This event has contributed over $200,000 to the hospital. And to the Halsey family, congratulations for making it possible. Appreciation for the youngsters with problems and the good work of the hospital, and for two men battling for all that money, Nelson.
You're right.
For the big win.
Well, the biggest difference between an amateur and a pro is the ability to recognize a lane condition and adjust, and that's what sits in front of these two players.
That left lane.
Our players just have to be a little bit more disciplined when they roll the ball. See, he just kind of throws it away, pulls his follow-through down, and doesn't get the extension. The ball cuts through the heart, leaves the 3, 4, 6, 7, whatever it is, 9, 10 out there. Tough shot and a terrible way to open a match. Chris, they can stop all that by cutting their hook down, being a little bit more under control. This is not a 6-game match. This is a 1-game sprint to the winner's circle, and you have to have a little less power to at least mark in the opening frames.
225-pounder. Crossing over, leaving the 6, 9, 10.
A powerful man, weightlifter, bench presses 425 pounds, but it isn't going to help him if he doesn't get the ball in the proper direction. He's got good position here. Look at his hips. Everything's straight and away. Watch that left shoulder pull back. But he's just sawing on it, hooking it too much to accommodate this lane condition. Straighten it out, and he'll find there's a real good shot out there.
He was 4th in the Quaker State last year, right here. Best thus far this year, 11th. The Hilton Hotel Classic, and he was 13th at our opening telecast, AC Delco.
Our top 3 players out here, Chris, all are strong players. They have a great game. They just need to get a little more versatility, such as a guy like Monacelli has learned over the years, and they can be top stars.
Nice crossover strike for Bob Spaulding, originally from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Former carpet installer. Now bowling out of Greenville, South Carolina. After an open 2nd frame, Coffman.
Well, there's a cardinal sin in match game bowling, is that when you can hit one lane, don't lose it. Kelly Coffman has hit this right-hand lane very well in his first 2 matches, and now he's starting to lose it here in the championship match. You have a chance to win. It's just match game play if you can hit one of the lanes.
Back to back. Open frames.
Well, Kelly made this spare to win the match, the semifinal match. But here in the opening going of the championship match, $48,000 at stake. He's open with 2 open frames. He's got to get his strike ball going.
There's that uncontrollable hook. 10-pin again.
Too many violations of the principles of the sport. He's varying his accuracy and his ball speed. You cannot do both and hope that you're going to develop some type of line. And Chris, we know these guys got the power. I mean, they can throw that ball down there 20 miles an hour, and sometimes you just have to take the lane out of play.
And Bob is doing exactly what he told you he was going to do, right?
Yes, he is, Chris. He's playing much less hook, and as you see through the 42 games, Spaulding led the qualifying 18 games, cut to the top 24. Coffman had a brief stint at top, but Spaulding overtook him in the last game last night. And Chris, you are correct. Spaulding is moving deeper in the center of the lane, playing all oil, cutting his hook down, and if he can just fill the frames, he'll win the match. He doesn't need a 250 to win this tournament.
High and a 10.
Maintain that form under pressure, Bob. Ended up on 2 feet that time instead of posting it up there at the foul line. Maintain your balance.
The head-to-head position round, Bob outscored Kelly Coffman 198 to 162. We'll be back.
You gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool. You gotta be calm. You gotta stay together. All I know, never say today.
The Halsey family from left to right, Brenda, Randy, Deb, and Mom. And behind Mom, her sister Claudette. Hospitality served up beautifully by this family.
Kelly Coffman, fourth frame, only one ball out of 7 been in the pocket in this championship match.
3-6 on the right.
1 out of 8.
Monacelli over Goebel, 244-202. Coffman over Monacelli, 218 to 214. Then over D'Entremont, 185 to 175. Now the final championship game. First strike of this final game. 55 to the 4th, strike up in the 5th. Spaulding, 34-pin lead, spare working 5th frame.
Both players struggling a little bit, especially on the right-hand lane, which has been yielding on quite a few strikes in the first 2 matches. Players drifting high, 3-6-10. When they move deeper on the lane, they leave the 2-4-10 split. So it's imperative he covers the spare. It's match game competition.
And each Tina Fulmer, Bob's fiance.
For a player to get the most out of his abilities on the tour here, he has to know his strength. These players are both power players, but they also must understand their weaknesses. And their weaknesses are when the lanes get tough like that, they get too many open frames, you got to cut the hook down and get his speed on the ball.
And now a Spaulding problem.
Well, standing to the extreme left on the approach, he's trying to cut his hook down, just quite didn't do it enough. It's hard for a cranker or a power player who's used to seeing that ball going right to left to make it go almost straight, and now he's got an open frame.
Came in the 6th of this championship game, and the lead is cut down to 17. Coffman with a strike up, shooting in the 6th. A 2. Big shot, Bo.
Sends it wide, Chris, and he trusts it. He didn't go high, but almost leaves the 210 as that ball just hangs. Gets a spare to shoot at.
Kelly was the 89 and 88 Topeka Bowler of the Year. Still no title. Same Bob Spaulding, no more looking, but he has one regional title. That is something to cheer on that left lane. You're right, Kelly.
Spaulding with just kind of a neutral grip. He's going to try to cut some of that hook down. He sets that thumb to the 1 o'clock position and just kind of lets it roll down there. Real good shot.
Matching strikes in the 7th frame.
Making the good adjustment. Doesn't let the wrist snap under the ball and fingers around it. Goes straight up through it. The ball kind of settles in the pocket instead of drifting high for another split. Puts himself in a position where he can take a lead in this match of 27 pins. Stands to the left, not as far as Kelly is. Goes over here, sets that thumb about 12 o'clock. He's going to try to throw a fairly straight ball between the 3rd and 4th arrows. Big shot.
Bowling here for a total of $73,000 in the title match, 48 to the winner.
Well, that's real good stuff by Bob Spaulding. The ability to go away from your A game under pressure, and so far he's performing well. Now Coffman has to answer.
And cuts Spaulding's lead back to 17.
I can't tell you how much it is to a player, not only financially, but mentally, to win your first title. And right now, both these players in that position to get the respect of their fellow players, to be a champion.
No break on that shot. Bo, you remember your first?
First title in Louisville, Kentucky, Chris, and I had the same thoughts that some of these players did. I really wasn't thinking about the money, although 48 grand here is a lot. I wanted some respect, and that's what you get when you win.
Well, that's what Bob Spaulding has said, all along. And Kelly agrees, I'm sure. Win it, and the rest comes.
Well, Spaulding's put himself in a position where he just needs 2 marks to lock up his first title and get that respect. Let's see what happens. 9th frame.
And Bo, with incentives, victory here is a pretty good money package, isn't it?
Right, Chris. There's incentives by all sorts of people and manufacturers and so forth. So I'm telling you, he's looking probably at a $85,000 to $100,000 paycheck if he knocks this one down, considering he's going to the Brunswick Tournament of Champions. And he's put himself in a position where he needs 8 pins on this first ball to lock up his first title, and he knows it. He got my respect, Chris. In the middle of the match, he goes away from his A game. He learned from those other 6 losses he's had out here on the Professional Bowlers Tour, and he's captured his first title.
Well, you've often said, though, he's one of the most talented out here, and the most talented of the 188 this week.
That's for sure. All 3 of these top guys, if they all learn a lesson from it, D'Entremont, Spaulding, Coffman, they can do it. They have the talent.
And a high five from Kelly Coffman. Kelly will be written a check for 25 grand. 48 in the Quaker State 250, which Bob Cohen will be presenting to this young man originally from Pennsylvania. And he keeps stroking. In the 230s, in fact, 231 for the Quaker State 250 champion here at the Forum in Grand Prairie, Texas. We'll be back. Graphically, there's the story of the Quaker State 250. $48,000 first victory for Greenville, South Carolina now. Bob Spaulding, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everybody here was great. I'd like to thank Quaker State. And I don't think I could have gotten there without their 4x4 oil.
That means you're as intelligent as they are.
Yes, that's it. I'd like to thank Jeannie and everybody here. It was great all week. I mean, I had fun. I was the top all week, or first or second. Kelly bowled great. Everybody, it could have went either way. The left lane was pretty tough, so.
There are incentives in addition to the Quaker State 250 check that you're about to get from Bob Cohen. You could even become their spokesman. Good salesman. I'll be your agent. Okay. All right, let's go to Bob Cohen, the Executive Vice President of Marketing, Quaker State, and he does have a check.
You guys are a tough act to follow. He said intelligent oil, that was my line. You said 4x4, that was my line. But the most important thing is that Jeannie Halsey, the Texas Scottish Rite Hospital, Lord Byron, Mike Connor, all the people, Mr. England, mayor of Prairie, Grand Prairie, all of it is important. Herb Baum came here last year and he said, let's redo this thing, let's call it the 250, and that added a lot of value, and we want you to know that we're going to give you with great pleasure a first, and there'll be many more of those, I know, Bob. The other thing is, you already told me what I was going to ask you. Do you also own a car along with a 4x4?
No.
No?
Yeah, I own a car. I don't own a car.
You goofed my lineup. Anyway, here's a year's supply of 4x4 our new product, and that's a first, too, for Quaker State. So we got a lot of firsts going on here. Congratulations.
That's great. I appreciate this. And this has got a lot of zeros on it. I like that.
Okay. Sana, your fiancée, is seated right here.
Yes,
She's going to bring her out. You might as well while Jeannie Halsey, our wonderful proprietor here, presents you the trophy. Here she is.
Come here, baby.
Oh, baby.
That beats all that.
All right, now the trophy, Tina. That the money may go, but the trophy. Look who's holding it, Byron.
Bob, congratulations. I know there's a special place in your heart for your first championship, and you could have done it anywhere with a greater sponsor than Quaker State has been. Congratulations to you, and you did the right thing. You take the trophy and give her the money.
Okay, thank you very much. We got that.
What about next week?
I want to do this again. This is fun.
We will be there.
Yeah, I'll be bowling next week.
Choice Hotels. And Bob, we'd like to thank you in Quaker State, our 19th year together. And it's been a joy. And of course, 21 with the Halsey family. And to be here with Byron Nelson and Bill Thorpe and Andy Overland, a lot of my friends. All these years, it's super. Peggy, you too. Join us, Choice Hotels, next week. That'll be from Sunday.